Hello everyone, it's Margie the Crafty Heifer, and I'm in my kitchen this morning. As you can see out my window, it's still really snowy here in North Carolina. It's the second day of February. I can't even remember the last time we had snow, um, and definitely not 5.5 inches like we've had this year. So this is a little different for us. It's 5 degrees outside, and I'm normally at work on a Monday, but since I'm home, I thought, hey, why not take the chance to just do a little short video. Hopefully it'll be short. I may have to speed it up some for some of you guys who like to watch things in really fast motion. That's good too. But anyway, over the years, I've used a lot of salt dough. So today, I got my recipe book out. I do keep some of my craft recipes in a book, and I'm trying to do better with writing down things that I want to remember and duplicate, because for us crafters, sometimes we're creating on the fly and we forget what we actually use. I know I do. I'm not very organized when it comes to crafting. So I'm doing a salt dough today, and I'm going to show you how I do it, because over the years, different people have come to me and said, hey, Margie, my salt dough is terrible. It's like really crumbly. It um, little cakes, little cookies for years and years, and they still look just like they did when I made them. So today, my recipe calls for 2 cups of flour. Now, I realized when I was about to do this video, I was short on my salt. So the recipe calls for 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of salt, just plain old table salt. I don't use table salt in my house. So when I went to use it today, I realized I was a little bit shy of a full cup. So when I use my flour, I'm going to make, instead of using the 2 cups that I normally would use, I'm going to cut it back just a smidge to accommodate recipe. Probably doesn't matter, but I'm trying to give y'all a good recipe that you can write down and follow for years. So there's 1 cup. There's a cup and a half. And for this final half cup, I'm going to cut it back just a little bit. And you guys, it doesn't really matter about what type of flour you're using. I don't think. Let's see, what have I even got here? This is just, you know what? This is cake flour. I don't even know why I bought cake flour. I've never used cake flour before, and I hope it works the same way. So there's that. I didn't even notice. So I'm going to put my gloves on too, because if you're like me and you have winter hands right now, we have the winter going on, and it's really, really bad with the hands. And I don't want to use that salt dough. And that's what made the original time I made salt ornaments. My kids made it so bad because we didn't put gloves on. And it was in the winter time, and the kids did not appreciate the salt after playing outside. I had boys, so they're always full of cuts and scrapes and all the things. But anyway, wear gloves because you're using salt. And if you're like me and you have little cracks you don't even realize you have them, it's going to hurt your hands. So I'm going to go ahead and pour my salt in. And now for my warm water. I've already warmed up some water. It's just not hot. It's warm to help everything mix. So I'm going to use the same cup, and I'm going to use 1 cup of water. And I may go back and add more in it, but I just put a little bit at a time and start mixing. I don't even add it all because I like to kind of get it And you're gonna have like this weird, what's the word I'm looking for? Weird sticky dough. If you've ever baked biscuits, y'all, I'm in the South, so we baked biscuits growing up. My mom used to make biscuits using lard. And see, it's just ooey gooey, yucky stuff. But that'll change. It'll get better. Just knead your dough just like you're making biscuits. If you never made biscuits before, just pretend you did. So I'm sorry you can't see inside my bowl. I need a better camera for overhead, but I'm going to turn it sideways so y'all can kind of see. So just keep mixing your components in until you get that little consistency that's more dough-like. And I keep pulling my gloves on because they're too big. I need smaller gloves. And I'm out of the gloves I normally use. I got to go buy some. And once I get a dough consistency, I didn't use quite all of my water. I keep it on hand in case I want to add more. So when I give you a recipe, you don't have to follow it exactly, y'all. Did we ever follow any recipe exactly? I know I don't. So see, it's more like the ooey gooey now, which is perfect. So just start kneading it. And I'm fixing to take it out of the bowl so y'all can see. I'm getting all my stuff off the bowl. Just wheeling it around and getting all my leftover components. And I'm going to put this on my counter now that I've got a dough consistency. But before I do that, I'm going to add a little flour to my countertop to help avoid the sticking. I told y'all, some of you guys that follow my page, y'all know we just built this kitchen. And I told them when I built it, I'm like, this is the kitchen we're going to work in. We're going to get this thing dirty. So that's what we do around here. We cook, we make stuff, and we get dirty. So see, just clop it right in there. Let me put this to the side. And I could probably take my gloves off now that I've got all that salt mixed in, but I'm going to leave them on because I've got some bad cuts on my hands from this weather, y'all. Now, the other thing we're going to use that makes my salt dough a little bit different, I have to reach over here and grab it. Give me just a second. Is my dish liquid. This is my secret ingredient. And I'm just going to squirt a little bit in there. That's probably a teaspoon or so. I don't measure it. In fact, in my recipe card, it says a smidge. Well, I say a smidge because I never know how much I need. As I get to kneading my dough, it'll kind of let me know if I need some more or less of anything. Keep all your ingredients on hand in case you need to add something else. And I'm going to take these gloves off, y'all, because now that I've got that in, I feel like I can control. Like when you get that salt all over your hands, it's just a mess. Let me get a little bit of flour on my hands too. That helps avoid the sticking. And just start kneading your dough. And see, just like any other dough, having the flour on the countertop, it adds a little bit extra in there and gives you more kneadability. I don't know the terms, but I can see that my dough is still a little sticky for me, so I keep pulling up a little bit of the flour. When you use your Dawn dish liquid, and I don't know, honestly, y'all, I don't know if you can use other dish liquids because I've never used other ones. That's what I had on hand, and it's only a tiny bit, so who cares? You know, I'm not going to go buy cheap dish liquid just to use in my salt dough. But I do know I don't buy the power wash. I buy the plain old Dawn, what I've used for, you know, several decades now, and it works for me. It works in my salt dough recipe perfectly. I can see as I'm doing this, it's still grainy feeling and looks real grainy. So I'm going to take a little bit more of my flour. And it might be, just sprinkle some flour in. It might be because I changed my recipe a little bit too. But when you make salt dough, you'll kind of realize it's going to be grainy. I mean, that's the nature of salt dough. But because of all the salt in it, you know, it's supposed to be. But I don't want it so grainy that it feels grainy. Does that make sense? So I'm going to show you up close. See how it looks? And it's got the little, it's still, I don't like that. I want a little bit more flour in there. but it's almost where I want it. See, I'm just pulling a little bit more flour in, and I can tell already that the consistency is pretty close to where I want it. But just for good measure, I'm gonna add a little bit more of my dish liquid. So all in all, I might have used a teaspoon and a half, or a tablespoon, something like that. And the more you mix it in, the more silky it feels. Now, I do know some people use like vegetable oil in it, and I'm sure you probably could. You could probably use vegetable oil the same way. But now that I'm rolling it up, see, it's in a good dough form. It's pretty solid, and it handles pretty well. See, I'm not leaving any on the counter. There's no tacky dough left behind. It's just like you're making biscuits. And I can keep rolling that, and it's going to keep the form. Now, when I make my salt dough, normally I would double or even triple my recipe. But like I said, I was missing the salt today, so I wasn't able to do that. But you guys, it's as simple as that. Look at there. That's my salt dough. And that is going to make several cookies in the coming days. I might even make a couple of bundt cakes, which I don't do a lot of. They don't really sell for me in this area like some of the other things do, so I don't make a lot of bundt cakes, but I do like them for myself. You know, occasionally I'll use one. So, but how I'm going to use this is I'm going to store it. Let me grab a bag. I'm going to store it in a Ziploc bag in the refrigeration. So you just put it in your bag. I might have to divide this because I don't have any larger bags, of course. So you just put it in your bag and put it in your refrigerator. And you don't want to keep this too long. I don't really know what the limit is. I always say 4 to 5 days for anything that I'm going to refrigerate. Because it's food product. So if you put a food product in your fridge, I'm not eating anything that's been there more than 5 days. That's just me personally. So I probably wouldn't use it that long either, because as soon as you start mixing ingredients, bacteria can start growing, and we don't want that. So I will probably use this today, and I may even make another video just to show you guys how to use your salt dough to make cookies. But we'll see. I like having a double recipe before I dirty up my whole kitchen, and I really am out of salt. So I may get some more salt and make another batch or two before making cookies. But that is as easy as that, y'all. It's 12, almost 13 minutes. So in that time, I made salt dough. You guys can do this too. Now, if you'll notice, I did not add any smell to this. I know some people do add essential oils or liquid, like candle making type liquids, to give it scent. I don't do that. I do that in the latter stage of making cookies. If I want it to be scented, I add it on top of, not in, because I want it to dry the way I'm used to it. You may do it that way, and there's nothing wrong with it. You do you. But for me, I like to do that as a coffee polish, or as a what's the word? Or it's just like a glaze. So, but I hope this helps you guys. And when you make this salt dough using my recipe, please let me know you did that, and I'll be grateful for a little bit of just feedback, knowing that you guys were able to use this and it rectified all those cracky and crumbly salt dough cookies that you have been trying to make over the years. So that's all for me today. Hope y'all enjoyed this short little video on salt dough.